I went ahead and started the recording. I don't know if we're gonna wait for Commissioner Schuff, but just whenever you're good. Okay.
I mean, we can, I think everybody that's on is going to be on. If you want to go ahead and start it, we can, Tyler can hop in later.
Okay, all right, so let us begin. We'll call this meeting, Seneca County Commissioners, to order for Thursday, April 22nd. I think we probably need to do roll call to begin with. Vicki, if you'll do that.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Yes, here.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Here.
Commissioner Schuff.
And he is
Here,
here.
he's just not logged in yet.
Okay, so we'll count him as here because he is in the building.
There he is.
Okay, so let's please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Anthony, do you have the prayer this morning, or would you got it someplace else? Okay.
Do you want to do that at the regular meeting?
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
I will defer.
And how
till then.
about approval of the minutes? You want to do that at the regular meeting as well?
Yeah, we'll just wait and do it.
Okay. All right, very good.
Go
So I need a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of contract negotiations, employee contract negotiations.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we are now in executive session. So tell
Wait,
us
I
what
gotta
we
do
need.
roll call.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us what we need to do, Stacy. You have to hit a button here.
Roll call.
Commissioner
You
Schuff,
got to do roll call.
The vote for exec.
Oh, okay.
Do that real quick and then I'll hit the button. Yep.
Sorry. All
Commissioner
right.
Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna hit the open all rooms button and then it should, I think, prompt you, or it might put you right in there. So just somebody go to the surface, I guess. Okay, yep, should have an invite there. Mike, you'll be able to join, and the surfaces.
10 o'clock if you're there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and resume the recording, so just, you got
Okay,
it.
so we got about an 8-minute break here. We're not going to start until 10.
All right, sounds good.
Yep, thanks. Okay, I have 10 o'clock if everyone is on. We did indeed open the meeting with an executive session at 9 a.m. We are now out of executive session. We were at 9:50. Recalling the meeting to order. We did have the Pledge of Allegiance, and I think we'll then start with Commissioner Paradiso with the prayer.
Okay, do we need roll call coming out of executive session?
Well, we'll have a roll call as soon as the prayer is completed.
Okay, thank you. Dear God, thank you for sunshine today. Thank you for the sheriff and our law enforcement and all the work that they do to protect the county. We ask that you look over them and continue to guide them and protect them. And we also ask that you help oversee this meeting as we debate and discuss county business. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Okay, Nikki, let's do roll call now.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Here.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Here.
Commissioner Schuff.
Present.
Okay. Sheriff Stevens, we haven't had nearly enough of you yet. We need you back on. So you got a presentation for the board?
I do, sir. Thank you for having me again and letting me present where I think that we truly should be at. And again, just like a few weeks ago, or maybe it was even a month ago already, and I talked about the equipment need of the vehicle need, and I said that we would talk about personnel later. So later is now. So on the road side, I just want to talk about on the enforcement side of the front of the operation, not the jail side. That'll come in a couple weeks. We'll talk about that when we have some more answers with the federal ICE program. So today I gave you a packet, and forgive me for not giving it to you sooner, but I was still up late last night figuring out some of the numbers to get it into a more, I guess, palatable state and not be so much of a sticker shock. So the first step that I did, that you see on the first chart there, is the organizational chart. And in any organization, especially a police organization, you have to have an organizational chart that covers all your areas of operations. And one of the things I did when I first came in was reorganize the organizational chart at the, oh, there you go. She scanned it and it's on there. And so there is a distinct line of command, chain of command for each of the areas that I broke the sheriff's office into. And that is, it starts with the sheriff at the top as the elected official, and then the chief deputy, who's going to oversee all the divisions. And so the 3 divisions that was broken out were corrections, operations, and administrative. And under each of those divisions, you can see where each of the operational pieces of the puzzle are put into. And so today we're going to talk about the operations side of it, which is straight below the chief deputy there. He's in charge of all the commanders. And so initially when I came in, we have the corrections jail administrator, Captain Green, I brought in. The administrative lieutenant was currently there and just not being utilized as a divisional commander. And so he was moved into the administrative division commander spot, and that's Lieutenant Cunningham. I brought him from the court services side, who's still in charge of the court services, but he actually has expanded into in charge of dispatch, in charge of the evidence room and records, the sex offenders list, as you can see, auction sales, CCW, which we've expanded the hours on that, the web check, which we've are going to start May 1st on that for the citizens as well. He's in charge of the armory, in charge of training under that section as well, maintenance, and as I said, in dispatch as well. So the only 3 out of the 3 division commanders that we currently don't have is the operational division commander. And so the chief and I have kind of been playing double duty amongst all the other planning and policies and changes that we're doing there, and kind of helping the road, helping the detective division, the task force, the school resource, the warrants and transports division, and trying to schedule training for all of them. And we're kind of drowning in that area because we don't have a person that is in charge of that division like we do with Captain Green and Lieutenant Cunningham. And as you will see, is why we need that. So the second page in the handout is our current, the way that it's staffed on the road right now, a 5/8, and that's in their contracts of a 5/8 schedule. And for decades, they've had a 2-man minimum, and that's in the contract as well. So if you count up all the deputies that are on that second sheet, there's 18 enforcement deputies that are on the road that handle all the emergency calls, that handle the calls for service, the normal calls for services that are coming in, that do traffic, do all the extra details that are required of us, or asked of us to do. So you would think 18 would be enough, but it's not. When you actually look at, there's really only 13 for the road, and that's what that bottom graph box it shows you. So we have Village of Bettsville that contracts with us and pays for that deputy's salary to be 40 hours a week in the Village of Bettsville. But yet the past sheriffs did not ask the commissioners to replace that position on the road. So we have a paid deputy that we get the full money for that's in Bettsville, but yet we don't have that available to the road. It was just taken off of the road. 2 detectives. So we have 1 detective for the whole county that handles all the major crimes that are coming in. That's not acceptable. And the other detective is assigned to the metric, the division task force. And as you can see already, when we assigned him in March, we've had 2 county operations already. So it's not that he's not needed in the county as well. Then we have a civil service deputy that by law we're required to make sure that we serve all the subpoenas, we serve all the civil process paperwork and everything, and we can't miss any of that stuff. Those are court ordered and generated. And again, by law, one of the things that the sheriff is responsible for is those civil process service papers. So there's 1 dedicated deputy that does that. And oftentimes we get the help from warrants and transports and some of the road enforcement deputies to help with that, because it's some weeks are more processing than others. And again, that's by law. So we cannot ignore that and just use that deputy position on the road. And then the last one is the SRO position that they created, and we have 1 more year on the contract with that. And so that one is gone 9 to 9.5 months of the year doing that position. And when they're not, they're either by vacation or conferences or whatever, so you don't get a full use out of them. But again, that one is 75 or partially funded through, and yet was not a return position to the road. So if you look at the numbers under each of the day shift, afternoon shift, and midnight shift, you will see that the best schedule that can come out of 18 deputies, which now really is only 13 deputies that are on the road, and you have the gaps that we have there. On a Saturday during the daytime, you have 2 deputies here, same with on a Sunday. In the midnight hours on Monday, you have only 2 deputies. So even where you see the 3s at, you're looking at deficiencies because they sit desks for the dispatch, which is another liability that I will get into here in a minute. You know, the dispatch has gone beyond just getting on the radio and saying, go from point A and go to point B. There's emergency 911 calls that come in. There's 14 fire and medical or EMS agencies that are out there that are calling at any given time. And when you just have 1 dispatcher sitting desk during those time periods where everybody and their brothers calling in 911 calls, they can't get to those all those calls. And one of those calls might be critical. It might actually be from the person in the emergency incident, or somebody that can give you vital information for those responding units. So not being able to answer 911 calls. And then if on top of that, they have to give instructions that they're trained on and certified on CPR over the phone, or infant care over the phone, or getting the information out of them that's crucial for the deputies on the road that are responding, or for the medical staff that are responding. And so if you have just a deputy filling in for their 15-minute break or their lunch time or dinner time, then you're rolling the dice again on liability. And one of the things I ran on was to reduce the liability for the taxpayers and for the commissioners and for myself as well. So if you look at those 3 numbers, sometimes it's, again, just 2. And if it's 2, you're down to 1. And so part of this is interwoven with when I came 3 or 4 weeks ago with the maintenance of the vehicles and how we're all over, how many 60% are over that 196,000 mile mark, and we're paying X amount of dollars on maintenance of vehicles and the fuel. And it's because we are staffing our road as automatically as a failure, because they're responding to Bettsville from the station at the beginning of their shift, or then they go from Bettsville and they come back to type a report or to process an arrest or a ticket, and then they get called to Attica, or they get called to New Regal, or then they get called up to Flat Rock. And so they're racing across the county on emergency calls most of the time, which are increasing the maintenance of the vehicles and the fuel consumption because of the low staffing numbers. Where if you had a higher staffing numbers, then you can allow for those units to be in those areas and not have to have 2 units or 3 units and have one from one side of the county back up on a domestic or an arrest situation. And even when you see the 3s and the 4s, that's assuming that somebody doesn't call in sick, somebody doesn't take a leave day, a comp day, a vacation day, all the time that's due to them that's coming, that they have in their time banks. So it's really 3s and 2s across the board, even when you see the 4s, because people need to take time off, and they're allowed to take that time off. So what I'm proposing then is to take that, some of the funding that we already have with the Bettsville officer, that's fully funded, and the SRO partially funded, and turning it into hiring some road deputies and a dispatcher. And if you look at the second sheet, where I plugged in, it's the same as the first sheet, but adding the new deputy positions. So by adding 4 deputies to the road, we continue to do the work that we did in the lower graph of the village, the SRO, the detective bureau, the metric, and the civil. And so those weren't counted before, they're still not counting, and we're getting that work done. And by adding 2 deputies to the day shift, adding a deputy to the afternoon shift, and adding a new deputy to the midnight shift. And this is all gradual. Again, you can't hire all these people at once and train them all at once and equip them all at once with the vehicles and everything. So this is going to be the rest of the year process this year, of getting these people in and trained and getting the vehicles for them. So you can see how the manning has increased to a more acceptable, being able to allow people to have time off. Minimum manning would now be 3. It's not contractual. That would be something I would set policy wise, and not through the contract, but it would be 3. So you would still allow one, and now allow one person to be off where you weren't before with 2, without automatically causing overtime. And in some of the areas that were the busiest, again, I'm pretty data driven. So I look at the areas where we have the most calls for service, and those are going to be your weekend, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. You can see that we do have some 5 coverages where we had 4 coverages before. And so by allowing to do that, we only have the middle of the week on midnights staffed at 3, which would be your minimum manning, where we would have to do something there. And that just could be some adjusting around with some of the days off and stuff like that. The third sheet, or be the 4th sheet, sorry, is the actual cost, the breakdown of everything. So on the left column, it explains what those line items are that I have in my budget lines. The second column, where it says county 2021, that's the actual money that was allotted to the sheriff's budget for those for those line items. So new deputies, you didn't allot me any money, so that's why the dash is there. Supplies, you gave 100,000, and that was based, I think, off of the year prior to that. And so the true 2021 cost is the numbers that I'm giving you today, that where I should be at to not only do the deputies, but to have the training, the extra equipment, the contractual services that we're doing, some of the new technology out there now. Uniforms, I was given 1,500. But equipping one deputy or one dispatcher, or a civilian or something like that is going to be way more than 1,500. A deputy is around $2,200 to equip them. There was no training budget at all, and we've been sending deputies to training. So I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul and some of the other line items. So this gets us back where you see the FOJ. They calculated that at the last year's rate, and it really should be the number that the true number is 38,800 for the FOJ. So we're already short there, and we know that. And then again, like I said, training, and then the adding a new dispatcher. So when I talk about them sitting and there's only one dispatcher, there's only a few shifts that have 2 dispatchers if they both don't take any time off or call in sick. And so right now, the way that the state is looking at your PSAP, so your public safety 911 apps and stuff, is that you have to have 2 dispatchers per shift. And there's been legislation to make that mandatory across the state for every 911 operation center, whether it's county or city or a village operating their own. So what that means is that you have to staff to that level, which is 10. Just like Hancock County did 3 years ago. However, they table that legislation every year. And one of these years it's going to be permanent. So how we get around it now then is a question that you should have in your mind. The way we get around it now is that the city has a dispatcher on, City of Tiffin, City of Fostoria has a dispatcher on, and we have a dispatcher on. So if our dispatcher is busy, it rolls over to their lines, and vice versa, their lines roll over to ours. So the state is kind of looking the other way and saying, okay, we'll accept that for now. And that, you know, you have two dispatchers on duty because somebody is answering that 911 call. But in the future, again, we need to prepare for that. And also we should be prepared for it when we have to sit a non-certified dispatcher to cover that 15-minute break or that lunch hour. That's just, again, liability waiting to happen, that you're hoping that during that 15-minute or that lunch hour that no emergency is going to come in, or they're scrambling how to dispatch a fire, or which is a lot more training than it is, you know, for the deputies that have it now. So the true number there for the dispatcher, a brand new dispatcher, is put there, and their training. And how I broke that down is, so that's, if you look in the lower right corner, all those changes together, personnel and the changes to the budget lines that either didn't have anything in them or need to be increased to actually cover some of the costs that we're having this year, increases with the changes that we're making out there, comes to just under 500,000, 478,361.80. And just for the personnel costs, that's the last sheet. So obviously the line items for equipment, that is what it is. So the breakdown for the 6 positions that I'm asking for is the actual division commander's position, and the 4 new deputies and 1 dispatcher position. The Medicare's there, the PRS for the dispatchers there, PRS for the road is at 18.1. That's there. The county administrator covers the workers' comp and insurance out of their budget line. I think that's what I'm being told. So that's where I get the lower right costs just for personnel costs that you saw up in the true 2021 cost for road and for the new dispatcher. Again, I think that we've kicked this can down the road for decades. Or I say we, as you know, I wasn't there during the time periods or asking as a sheriff to what we truly need to give adequate service to the citizens of Seneca County, bearing in mind that we have 545 square miles. And unlike when I was the chief and we had 7.7 square miles, you know, I had a staff of 30 road officers to handle that area. I have a staff of 18 that's actually down to 13 to cover all these surrounding areas and race back and forth. So all of it, I think, interweaves and connects with each other. It'll help with maintenance. It'll help with fuel costs. It'll help with the manpower, the morale, which is, you know, one of those intangible things, but it's definitely, you know, how you recruit and how you retain people. Do you have enough staffing? Can they get time off? You know, in the contract now, vacations and personal leaves, and this kind of boggled my mind coming from the city to there. It says in there they can carry over certain amounts of time if the sheriff denies their vacation or their personal leave. And for the life of me, when I was running in the primary, I couldn't understand why I would deny you your personal leave or your vacation. And now I understand why, because if you're so short and you don't have the overtime budget and you don't have the personnel, they're going to have to do 12-hour shifts. And if they try to take leave, the sheriff gets the opportunity to deny it, which I just think is destructive to morale and destructive to their well-being. And one of my main principles on day one when I came in there was I'm all about employee wellness and all about maintaining your 30 or 35 year career here at the sheriff's office and working for the county of Seneca to be as enjoyable as possible. We know this is a stressful job, but it's not my job to make it more stressful for them. It's my job to try to relieve some of that stress from them. And so what I'm asking is just like you're doing for the EMS when Ken Majors, the EMS director, described why you need X amount of people to cover for their times off. You know, it's not just 2 people, you need, X amount more people to cover for their days off and stuff. We should have been at this level years ago, if not decades ago. When I talk to other sheriffs and say, we have 2 people out there at one time, they kind of looked at me like, how do you get away with that? And I don't know. I don't really have a good answer for them. I understand, budgets and we have to be frugal, and I think that we are. And when I first did this, I put down what I felt that we needed, and it was up into the 650, 700, and 3,000, so that we could cover all the 4s across the board and have 5s. But I understand that there's not a money tree that grows in Seneca County, although we would love it. And so I whittled it down all the way up into last night to a manageable number and a manageable schedule that makes sense. And I could at least propose it as a stepping stone to where we could be maybe in the future if things go positive like we hope that they will. But at least for now, this gets us where we should have been at maybe 10 years ago. And that's my presentation.
Okay, Sheriff, thank you very much. We appreciate your input. We will review the request and have a discussion, I'm sure, at a future meeting, and decide which direction we need to go there. Obviously, now, one question I had was from previous discussions, the salaries that you're talking about hiring people at this point, whether it be a deputy or dispatcher, are they pretty competitive?
The salaries for dispatcher and road deputy right now,
The one on your list that you're asking to hire.
We are at the bottom, going through the union negotiations and getting comparables from our attorneys. We're at the bottom for bottom for dispatchers, bottom for correction officers, of comparable surrounding sheriff's agencies, of the 6 to 7 surrounding sheriff's agencies around us: Sandusky, Ottawa, or not Ottawa, Sandusky, Wyandotte, Hancock, the surrounding Huron, the ones at Erie County that are around us. So, and road, we're second from the bottom. So we get headhunted a lot. They steal our correction officers. We get people that are in the pipeline to be hired for the road or for corrections, and then find out halfway through, because it's like a 4 to 7 week process to get your psychological, to get your polygraph, to get your medical and your drug testing. Find out halfway through that they turn down our conditional offer because they've been offered, a position at Sandusky County for $2 or $3 more an hour.
My question really is it the numbers that you showed us about where you would start these folks at? Is it reasonable to assume that you could find a pool of people that could fill those positions?
Yeah, it's reasonable to know that if you put the we're hiring sign out, that you will get applicants. It's just up to them if the other places are hiring at the same time, if they don't steal them from you. That's the point.
Okay, got it.
I have a question, Commissioner, Sheriff. So does this take into account any offset of overtime? I know you're spending a lot of money on overtime.
Yes, it absolutely does, because now the overtime is because of, those 2s and 3s that are there. By contract, they have to maintain a 2 level, and they are. And you're coming into the vacation season, so the money, the overtime that we've seen up to this point is some of the mandatory training that I've required of them to lessen our liability, again, for the taxpayers and the commissioners, on some of the things that are mandatory by the state that we have, but also some de-escalation, the national furor that's going on, officers that are going to scenes and don't have that de-escalation training or the critical incident training and stuff. There's only a handful of the whole staff at the sheriff's office, both in the jail and the deputies, that actually are CIT certified and are crisis intervention trained. And so that is critical to handling. Back in the jail, 80% of our inmates have some type of critical incident going on in their life, mental health awareness. And the same statistic on the road, most of the calls that the deputies are going to. So to cover the training, to cover when they have to go to mandatory training, now you have to have those 2 on the road. It would definitely give us some breathing room on the overtime and reduce that amount as well.
And then if, am I looking at this right? We have 6 dispatchers now. This would take us to 7.
That's correct. They used to be at 7 up until about, I don't know the specific year. It was 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. One of the dispatchers passed away. And they never refilled that position for some reason. But they were at 7 for as long as Tiffin was at 7. And for some reason, when they went down to 6, maybe it was economics or whatever, they didn't refill that position. But we are currently at 5, and we're training one. She's halfway through the training, and she's doing very well. And we'll be at full staff at the 6 come for another 4 weeks from now, 3 to 4 weeks from now. And so the proposal is to hire that 7th this year, get them trained, look at next year going 8, look at the 3rd year going 9, and then so make this a cumulative thing and not a shock to the system all at once. And we're also looking at upgrading the 911 center to accommodate that as well.
Okay, and then last question. You've, between January and now, vehicles being one example, you've had what I would call one-time requests. So it appears what you're proposing here would be an ongoing operational need. And we've been addressing kind of you've been spoon feeding us, for lack of a better way to explain it, this and that, and we've been accommodating along the way. Do you anticipate a lot more of that? The jail not included. That's a different discussion. But
no, I don't think so, sir. I pretty much kind of exhausted giving Stacy a lot of the quotes, and I don't know if they've been shared with you as well as far as she's just collecting them all. But I think they have been. And those are those one-time expenses that we're talking about with the camera security systems, the 25-year-old carpet throughout the building, the records being scanned in, the phone system, being upgraded and stuff like that. Those were those one-time expenses that you're talking about to bring our maintenance level and our perception of how the government building looks, overall, and how it functions efficiently, to be on the same phone system as the rest of the county. The camera system is real old, and it's not in all the areas that we want it to be in. So I don't foresee between now and the end of the year hitting you with any more surprises unless a surprise comes up,
Okay, thank you. Nice job.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Any other questions from anyone before we go to the next item?
Sheriff, does the contract services line cover the new in-time contract that you have in place, and then the dietitian contract that we have on the agenda today?
Yes, that actually will then go down to that new one, the software line for the in time that you're talking about. The dietitian contract isn't a full-time employee. It is just a one-time and then a recurring thing once a year for her to look over the menu. So it's hard to find one with the certifications and the stuff. So that contract is for her to initially go over the menu, which would be a few hours of her day to come up with the new menu, state certified menu, and then once a year, maybe an hour's worth of work to, so she might have 3 or 4 or 5 initially, and then 1 hour once a year billable, or a half an hour or whatever it is, to review it and make sure that there's been no changes in the state diet plan or anything.
Okay.
And that would be up in the contractual services as well, yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheriff. Stacy, I think we're time to do the bid opening for the school of op.
Yeah, I think Nikki wants you to do the minutes, approving the minutes quick.
Okay, very good. Yeah, okay. So I will accept the motion to approve minutes of the previous board session.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Thank you. No additional discussion. Nikki, go ahead with roll call.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Okay. School of op bid opening.
Yep. I only have one bid. Let me get the paperwork out of here. So the first bid is from Transportation Equipment Sales Corporation out of Oregon, Ohio. Tesco, I think they usually call themselves Tesco. And their bid is for a 2020 Dodge Caravan with rear entry ramp and wheelchair tie down. Total amount $39,965. And I don't see any trade in or anything. So
39,000 is for each. There's two.
yeah, well, the quote says one, but they do, I think they did request for two.
Yeah.
It would be for each.
He requested a handicap and a non-handicap. There are two separate bids.
Oh, there's two separate bids. Okay.
I only have one.
All right. That's all he submitted for.
Yep, that must be all he submitted for. I don't see another quote.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right. Any questions, commissioners? Hearing none, something we could all use, a little splash of love. We have Carrie Duncan, I believe, with us to talk about a splash of love from the home. I hope.
Hey, Carrie. Yep, you'll just need to unmute.
Hi, I
Hello,
just
Carrie.
just a little bit of background from us. In 2017, 2 years ago, I'm sorry, 19, I came up with the idea of trying to send care packages to our deployed military. And I did this simply out of hearing all of these veterans that were committing suicide broke my heart, and read about my brother who was in Vietnam, what actually it was like when he came home. So I wanted to reach out and do something. And I thought if we could at least touch somebody that maybe if they were contemplating suicide sometime in the future, they would think, oh, remember that care package, somebody actually cared, and they reach out. No, we'll never know, but that, and it's kind of grown since then. It went from just a few packages to we've sent out over 200 now. And I have some, I don't know if you could see it, we packed 40 boxes the other day. And that brings us to why I am here. I know the commissioners cannot personally or do anything for us besides spread the word. We are looking for a room, a very small building that we can pack our totes or pack our boxes, put our totes in to store them, because, and you should have some pictures there that I sent in, that's our 40 boxes. And we did this in my driveway, and there was 3 of us, plus my husband was making boxes that was packing these up. And we had to do it in the driveway because there's just so many totes now. And we had more people, but then right now, as everybody knows, no matter what you plan, one day you have 4 inches of snow, and next week it's going to be 80. And it's really difficult trying to find the right day that the weather doesn't change. It is Ohio. So, you know, when we first started, we had a lot of people, like the Moose would let us go there, but we didn't have as many totes. And as you can see, the tables on both sides, there was like 4, 6 6-foot tables there with totes on them that we went through to get the items out of to put in the care packages. And we just need to have a place to put all of this. Excuse me.
Okay, well, good. I see we had a couple of messages congratulating you and also asking you to contact them. So there may be some space here. Hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed. And it's a
Okay.
great project. Great project. Thank you very much for your volunteering.
So
Yeah, and Carrie, can you see in the chat there that Audrey Flood with Tiffin Seneca Economic Partnership put her phone number there? Can you see that over there on the chat?
No, I can't.
I will go ahead and connect with you after the meeting. This is Jimmy Flynn. I'm the PR coordinator.
Okay.
I'll connect with you and connect you with Audrey because she might be able to connect with you about a few options for spaces. So thanks for sharing with us today. It's a great mission and we appreciate what you do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and listening and helping us get the word out about this.
Thank you, Kim.
You bet. Let us know if you do find a place. If not, we'll continue to ask questions. See
All
if we
right,
can't
thank
find
you.
something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, county administrators report, I believe we are at this point. Stacy?
I don't have anything today. We had a lot of business today, so I'll skip mine today.
Okay, commissioners, Commissioner Paradiso first today.
Nothing to report today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Shaw.
Yeah, just a couple quick things. Thank you, President Kirshner. Just want to congratulate Amanda Bird on her ribbon cutting and the opening of her new boutique, Soul Boutique, in downtown Tiffin. Wish her the best. Wasn't able to make the ribbon cutting, but wish her well. Also, meeting with Mayor Greenslade here next week, heading out to Green Springs. Been trying to get out to all the different villages and meet with the different electeds, the township trustees, mayors. There's different being on city council. There's a few councilmen, department heads, mayors, but getting out in the county, there's a lot of people to meet. So still been moving forward with that. I had a Port Authority meeting this week, coordinators meeting, got some COVID updates. Meeting with Audrey Flood here later this week to go over some rural development stuff. We've got a new business opening up here in Seneca County and Tiffin. Look for the press release here from TCEP, I believe, today, but shout out to my friend Jeff. He was a military veteran, lived out in the West Coast, came back home here, getting ready to open up his business. Just very excited for him. I think it's encouraging even during COVID and everything that's going on right now that you still see business moving forward. So look for those details on the TCEP site. Very happy for him. Last week, had a very good meeting with NFL safety Micah Hyde. Met with him, Tracy Troxel, and a few others. But one thing we've been working on here the last few weeks is trying to get a Little League football team up and started in Fostoria. In talking to Tiffin Little League football, some of their leadership, and then the mayor, Mr. Kidwell over in Fostoria, and just some of the leadership over there in that part of the county, we'd like to get a team or two going up in Fostoria to join with the Tiffin League. So Mike has been great to work with. We're looking at some possible grant opportunities for the NFL. I think it'd be a great thing for the youth over in that side of the county to learn some of those basic skills. Football is a little bit different of an animal compared to baseball and basketball due to the startup cost, but Tiffin Little League football is willing to lend a hand and allow them to join the league. So we've been working on that here for the past few weeks or months. But it's a very productive meeting. It's just nice to see that people over there really get behind that kind of thing. And even though he's in the NFL, he's still paying attention here to his hometown. I think it'd be a good opportunity for the youth over there. Keep kids focused and doing something hopefully besides watching TV and playing video games. Teach them about some teamwork and hard work. Very humble individual, so it's been great working with him. Also, just a couple events coming up here. There's a downtown Tiffin cleanup on April 24th. On the 27th, out at Collier Park at 6 p.m., they're doing a nature hike. And then on April 28th, over in Fostoria, they are doing a caboose open house. It's in the Fostoria Iron Triangle Rail Park, and that starts at 11:30 to 2. So got some cool events coming up here in the next week, but some cool things happening, and yeah, exciting things. So that's all I have.
Okay, thanks for the update. From my standpoint, we have had a series of meetings regarding buildings and grounds for the county. I want to personally thank all the volunteers for having those meetings and talking about steps forward as far as county buildings go. Representative Click participates in that. Senator Reineke participates in that. David Zach, both of the mayors. And I'm sure I'm leaving some folks out. I apologize for that. But I appreciate their time and effort as it relates to discussing the county's building needs. We also have had a couple of sessions regarding permanent structures on any county property. My sincere thanks to John Huss. He is chairing that committee. We have put some preliminary applications or potential applications together. As it turns out, the mayor, Tiffin City Mayor Montz, let us know that there is an application being formulated for kind of artwork and any other structures within the city. So we're going to try to align those applications, at least make them similar. The template for the application will basically be the architectural board reviews application for any changes to buildings within the city. Obviously, it'll be modified somewhat to reflect the requests that will come in. But just to let everyone know that we are moving forward with that. And again, to thank all the folks that are on those calls and all based on a volunteer basis. And I appreciate it. The calls are productive, and we are moving forward in those areas. Any questions of each other on anything that's going on?
Thank you.
Okay, hearing none. Is there any old business other than that, Stacy, that you're aware of that we need to address?
Nope, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, well, let's move on to new business then.
All right, bring my screen up here. Okay, so I have sure I'm unmuted. Yep, there we go. I have a supplemental appropriation at the request of the recorder. They are starting to open up doing some on-site trainings as well. He's reduced his travel line from what it normally is. He's estimating he'll only need about $600 for the remaining year for some of his required trainings. They have to have so many per year, so they're actually opening them back up. So he needs an additional $600 in travel. I have a request for the sewer district. And this has all been discussed with Mark Zimmerman. They looked at various upgrades to the software for billing. We even had Software Solutions Incorporated that has the VIP system through the auditor's office. We looked at it to try to see if it would be worth looking into. The expense was much higher than Mark and Charlene had anticipated and I anticipated. So felt like it would be better off just trying to upgrade to the newest QuickBooks, which is what they use now. So that's what these requests are for. So the total request is $3,328.12. And this is just splitting it in between the various sewer districts, and then need an additional block of hours for Buckeye IT to get those installed. So next, this goes to a contract we have in for your review today. $7,500 for the space study for the RTA. This is in our contract services line. And we have a supplemental appropriation into our contract services line. This is regarding the contract last week we discussed for GeoCap to do the grant paperwork for the sheriff's state grant for additional $5,750. And then I have a supplemental appropriation into our capital improvement fund. There'll be a couple of these resolutions that go together, but increasing our CSB line by $129,000. That is for the architect and engineering to get the bids updated, spec'd out for bids, all of the construction manager fees that we discussed last week. This goes along with it. It's the supplemental appropriation into our transfers outline for 129,000. So we got to take that from the general fund to the capital improvement fund. Then I have a request from Victims Assistance, total $2,180. This is our salaries, Medicare, workers' comp, PRS, and this is the increase. I think we have a contract for review, increasing the city's portion for the advocate. They've increased the contract amount due to some reduced funding from the state. I have a supplemental appropriation request from the auditor's office. This is her real estate side. They are getting the contract in place for the next 3-year reappraisal. So she needs $575,000 in her contract services line.
Hey, Stacy,
Yes.
couple questions. So this is the first time I've seen that in my tenure. So this happens every 3 years. Is this is this part of her budget, or is this on top of that?
This is, since she only does this 3 years, they pay it in 3 installments. So that's why they start it now, but this will be for 2024. She just has to appropriate the full amount of that contract because it has to be certified. So, but only a third of it will get paid in 2021, 22, and then 23.
And
So
then
this
on
is all within her budget.
Okay, thank you. And then on the capital improvement, we have money in the capital improvement fund. This 129, are we just, and this is governmental accounting, I think. We're just going from the general fund into the capital fund and then out? Is that all that is?
Yes.
Okay, so the money we have in the capital improvement fund now will be reduced by that amount?
No, that's why we're going to transfer it over.
Okay,
So we
this is
don't.
coming from the general fund and we're leaving what's in the capital improvement fund alone.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, the next one I have, this is for our office for computers and accessories. Both Nikki and Kylie's computer are, if I remember right, Nikki, one was 13 and one was 2016.
Correct.
They've been having issues with it. And then also her Surface, she's using the one that our previous employee, Tanya Hemmer, had used. And I mean, as you can tell, some of the meetings we've done, it's been locking up on her. So that's an additional $3,100. I'm hoping that if, you know, as we're finalizing all of the previous COVID money, that maybe we could not use the general fund money, but I do need to get it ordered. So I'd like to appropriate it, get those ordered. And if there's still, which I think there will be, some left of the original CARES could cover this. That's what we used it for last year too. I have a request from Soil and Water. These are for the additional funds for the joint assessments and the DRETAC fees for a total of $19,296.43. This is her ditch maintenance. Sure, I'm looking at the right one.
Yeah, that's right, Stace.
Yep, I see it. And next, I have a request from Juvenile Probate Court. This is an additional $8,500 out of their contract services line. They're going to do some scanning of documents that are currently located at the old youth center. After these are completed, the contents will be shredded. So they work very hard to help the county get a little bit more paperless. So we appreciate that. Let's see, I gotta go to my other sheets. Here's my PDFs. Share. Okay. Start here. All right, I have a resolution authorizing the fund transfer be made to the capital improvement fund. This is the 129,000 from our general fund transfers out to the capital improvement transfers in. I have a resolution authorizing Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into the 2021 participation agreement with the County Risk Sharing Authority, the CORSA. I have a resolution approving the amendment to the contract for Victims Assistance Services. This is with the City of Tiffin. They renegotiated their contract. And the city has offered to pay a little bit more due to the reduced funding. I'm guessing, or I think the prosecutor sent us a letter that they'll probably be asking us for additional funds as well. I have a resolution authorizing a letter of agreement for professional architectural services for the facade upgrades to the county health department with DLZ. This is the 129,000. I have a resolution authorizing Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into a contract with Ward Construction for the 2021 CHIP seal project, contract number 2021-2. This will be for Thursday, April 15th, 2021, here at the Commissioner's office.
Hey, Stacy,
on the
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
on the county health department agreement, this is just a typo. It
Oh.
says agreement for processional as opposed to professional.
Oh, all right. Nikki will fix that.
I don't think we're going to have a procession from the building.
Good catch. All right, we'll get that changed before you sign them.
Hey,
Okay.
Stacy, what did that ceiling contract, what did that come out to?
Let's see.
Ballpark.
It's usually in the resolution. It's not. Oh, there it is. Total $523,963.23.
Then how did we go about advertising it, just out of curiosity, because someone asked me?
Normal bid process, it goes to the AT for the required, it gets advertised in the newspaper 1 week, and then I think it's 14 days after has to do the second advertisement, and then it takes about a month process to get it back to us where we can open the bids.
Thank you.
And I have a resolution authorizing the ODOT Office of Aviation Grant Program application, Seneca County Airport, and authorizing Mike Kirschner as board president to sign this and all other related documentation on behalf of the Seneca County Board of Commissioners. This is the lighting project that we applied for in 2020, but with COVID, they had reduced some funding, but have now opened it back up. They have more funding. You know, this is the same grant we tried for last year, so we're going to try for it again this year. And this is a state, not the FAA. I have a resolution setting time, date, and place to receive sealed bids for the OPWC issue 1 round 35. This will be for Thursday, May 13th, 2021 at 10:30 a.m. here in our office. I have a resolution authorizing a consultant dietitian agreement with Karen Heller on behalf of the Seneca County Sheriff's Department. I have a resolution hiring Matthew Stock as a full-time paramedic for the Seneca County EMS effective April 26, 2021. And I have a resolution hiring Andrew Branson as an intermittent EMT for the Seneca County EMS effective April 22nd, 2021. I have a resolution approving the proposal for the RTA space study needs with Gossman Group, pending prosecutor's approval. And this is for that 7,500.
Okay,
Go ahead.
no, keep going.
Okay. I have a resolution approving the agreement with Great Lakes Community Action Partnership for the preparation and submission of an Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections Capital Improvement local jail application, authorizing Mike Kirschner, President of the Board, to sign. Then I have a resolution setting time, date, and place to receive sealed bids for the roof replacement at out to Job and Family Services. John was very diligent in putting this together. Those bids will be for Thursday, May 20th, 2021 at 10:30 a.m. here in our office. And I think that's all I had.
Okay, commissioners, anybody need to talk about anything specifically of the authorizations, funds transfers, or resolutions? If not, I will accept the motion to approve all of them.
So moved.
Second
you.
that motion.
Thank you. Okay, Nikki, roll call, please.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Purdy-Sill,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Okay, the time has come for public comment. Before that, two folks we usually hear from. Audrey is one and someone from Highbridge is two. I wondered if any, I'm not sure if anyone from Highbridge is on the line today.
Nope, I got a message from him this morning and he had a conflict in his schedule.
All right, Audrey, are you there?
You know, I always am, Commissioner. All right, good morning. Thanks for letting me chat with you. A couple things from TSEP today. The biggest thing we want to share with you is the wage and benefit survey that we just launched. Nick wants to make sure that we're getting the word out about that, as it's going to be really helpful for his job with all of our manufacturers and industrial businesses. So this survey is a partnership between Department of Job and Family Services with Kathy over there, as well as Ohio Means Jobs, our partner with Carol Kern. And we're happy to be partnering on this together to make it happen. This is something that our local employers have been asking for years in this community. So it'll be very helpful. We're very grateful that we're finally able to get this going. So it opens on May 3rd. It is multi-county. It is focused on the industrial manufacturing type of businesses. The goal is to get, I think, about 275 businesses to participate within the county areas that we're looking at. And then the results will be made public later and shared with the employers as well. So this is something that will be very helpful for our work, has been, again, requested for a long time. So please spread the word about that. Starting May 3rd, get the businesses to fill this out. So get the word out about that. There's more information on it at the TSEP website and Facebook page as well, like normal. As Tyler mentioned, Amy wanted us to share about the downtown cleanup that is happening this Saturday. It's 9 to 11 a.m. and you meet at Cherry Alley to get supplies and directions if you'd like to participate in that. So help keep our downtown clean. And also, again, from Amy's perspective, having the Soul Boutique open downtown this week was just amazing to get another space filled and have another option here in downtown for a shop. So that was great. I also wanted to mention the CARES program, the Seneca CARES business grants. We are still working on the closeout reporting process. So we're trying to get through all, almost 200 businesses that are a part of that program. Please, if any of them are still having trouble with their closeout report or have questions, need to work through that closing process, send them my way. We're trying to wrap that process up very soon. And last but not least, I wanted to let you all know, again, we need help spreading the word for this. The Seneca CEO Program, which Commissioner Kirschner is serving on with us, has now launched our hiring of our facilitator, which is the part-time position that will, if you're familiar with Leadership Seneca County, it's a similar concept to that, where this person will, take the group around to the different locations. They're not necessarily a teacher for the course, but they, they facilitate, they connect with the speakers, they connect with the local businesses, with the host sites. And so it's similar, again, a little bit to the Leadership Seneca County position for these students. So that is a part-time position that is open now. Please encourage anyone to apply. We're really looking for someone. The main quality that we need is someone that can be very engaging with the students, very, excited about business and entrepreneurship, and someone that'll be a great fit to make the class fun for high school students. So please be thinking who you know that might be able to take on a position like that. And we'd really like to get someone great on board to kick this program off. And they can reach out to me if they have any questions about that. We also are right in the middle of our student recruitment. So we're looking for our first group of 25 students that will be the inaugural class of the CEO program. So again, if you know any high school juniors that are juniors now that'll be seniors next year, please be speaking with them about this program. Again, send them my way if there's questions about what the benefits are. But we are looking to get those students in. The application closes May 15th for the students to apply for this program in the fall. So spread the word. We're looking for students that are the right fit. And just a reminder, these are not necessarily, they don't have to be the top achievers of the class. There's no GPA or grade requirement. These are just students that would excel in this kind of out of the classroom, out of the box environment, focusing on entrepreneurship and business while learning a lot of really valuable soft skills. So please be spreading the word to any high school students that you might know. I think that's all I have today. Are there any questions on any of those items or anything else for TSEP?
Thank you, Audrey, as always, for the update. We appreciate it. Okay, Jimmy, you know the statements. Anybody else out there?
Yep. If you'd like to come forward during public comment, you can hit the unmute button. It looks like we have Bryce Riggs, but I do want to remind everyone before Bryce speaks, if you're on the phone line, you just need to hit *6 to unmute. Go ahead, Bryce.
Thanks, Jimmy. Good morning, Commissioners. Bryce Riggs, Executive Director of the Chamber, as well as Destination Seneca County. I want to report that we had our second meeting with the Tourism Council this morning. Commissioner Paradiso attended on behalf of the Commissioner's Office. Again, a group of folks that, with the feedback and suggestion from the Commissioner's Office, how do you get feedback from our stakeholder groups, just, so we're best serving them with our bed tax dollars, what really well. Quick update regarding Destination Seneca County. Final edits are due April 26th for the Visitor's Guide for 21-22. First time ever that we've ever got full feedback from our stakeholders prior to print. So it went really well. Then also wanted to announce that earlier this week we put out an announcement regarding the Foster Rail Park. They had their spring open house, which will be April 28th from 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. They got a new caboose. So doing our best to promote not only Tiffin, not only Seneca County, but the entire county, I should say. So I want to thank the commissioners for their continued support. And then quick update regarding Chamber, as everyone mentioned, ribbon cutting this last week at Soul Boutique. We had Relax and Revive the week before, Big Dipper. Right now, our average attendance for ribbon cuttings in the last month have been upwards of 65 to 70. So it's good to see all the community support that we have. Then always, the commissioners want to support. I sent an email to Nikki regarding the ribbon cuttings we do have. So we'd love to have you out there to welcome all these new businesses to our community. It's good to see, even with the pandemic, that we continue to grow and things are happening here in our community. So any questions from the Commissioner's Office?
Good job, Bryce.
Thank you. And you guys are also the front page of the Visitor's Guide this year. So when they open it up, you'll be the first people they'll see will be you guys. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we'll let them decide.
Okay, thank you very much, Bryce, for the update. Anyone else out there, Jimmy?
Good morning. Carrie Carter, Great Lakes Community Action Partnership. Permission to speak?
Sure, please.
Great. I'm a Planning and Development Coordinator, and on behalf of GLCAP, we look forward to assisting you, the County Commissioners, and Sheriff Stevens with the ODRC Capital Improvement Local Jail Project. And I was happy I was on this morning to listen to Sheriff Stevens' law enforcement, deputy needs, and personnel. I just want to have you make note that the JAGs, Justice Assistant Grants, I'm not sure if the county has ever applied for those in the past, but they are due out May 3rd with proposals being in June. And those grants may assist with law enforcement needs, including personnel, computer technology, equipment. And so I just want to make sure you're aware of that. In 2019, I did not see that Seneca County received any funding. Those grants were approximately for law enforcement between 50,000 and 120,000. So just wanted to make sure you're aware of that. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Stacy, I assume we'll look at that, see if there's any, there's an application that we need to get put together for that particular request.
I'll check into that.
Okay, very good.
All right, and Commissioner Kirschner, I think Mr. Ben Nutter is on next. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Ben. Yeah, good
Hey,
morning.
good morning,
Hey,
Commissioners.
I actually called on you last week, but I think you were snoozing on me.
I wasn't. I gave you full attention and had the mute button on, which
I see.
is great performance on my part. Hey, good morning, Commissioners. I hope everyone's well. Appreciate the opportunity. I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Earth Day. And at Sunny Farms, we are celebrating by having some kids from the local school come out. Our general manager, Crystal Young, took them edible landfill makings yesterday, and they got to make a mock landfill that they then could eat. And we have stone fire pizzas out here for customers and the school kids. And so we're celebrating Earth Day. We're planting trees and planting flowers and all of those fun things.
Wonderful. Thank you for that.
I'll tell your wife, congratulations being appointed for Liberty Township Fiscal Officer.
Indeed. She said she met with you the other day. So I don't know. She wondered who was going to be her campaign manager. And I completely refused any effort in that.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you very much. Anything else out there, Jimmy?
I don't see anything in the chat, but once again, if you're on the phone line, you can hit *6 to unmute or just hit that unmute button. If not, I think we're good to go, Commissioner.
I think Ken
I
wants
have
to
one.
talk.
I have one thing. Just one thing.
Yes.
Ken Majors is the Emergency Services Director. I just want to say thank you very much for getting the resolutions complete to do a couple of hires for us this week. We're starting Monday with Mr. Stock, who is a fully qualified paramedic. We'll be getting him trained and oriented and onboarded to our system. And most importantly, I want to say, I don't know if it's a congratulations or what it is, but happy Administrative Professionals Day, which was yesterday, to Stacy and Danny, who and Nikki and Kylie, who do most of the work for us as far as the administrative stuff. And I think it's really important. And I'm going to buy you guys lunch.
Perfect. Thanks
Thank
for
you for your time.
recognizing that. I appreciate that, Kev.
And I guess since we're doing thanks, I know I seen Teresa Kopp on here. I want to thank her for getting, and Jim Jarrett, they stepped up when we had a crunch. Job and Family Services had brought in a dumpster to get rid of some old equipment that they had removed from inventory, and they had some room left on it, and said that, if any other departments had things they wanted to get rid of, we had a week to do it. And I think it ended up only being a couple days by the time we got around to it. Sheriff Stevens had his crew already committed. And so Jim Jarrett, stepped up. So we appreciate Teresa and all your staff and Jim Jarrett and getting the kids to help us get some stuff out of the RTA building and stuff out of the museum. So thank you.
Thank you all.
Commissioner, while we're in the thankful mood, I want to thank Vicki Johnson at the Advertiser Tribune for continuing to do a really nice job covering the meetings and county business. So thanking people, I think Vicki deserves one too. We don't say it enough. So great job, Vicki. Thank you for all you do.
Okay. Okay, hearing no more comments, 11, yes, Tyler.
Sorry, one last thing. We don't have to discuss this in detail now, but I guess kind of keep it in the back of our heads. I don't know if anybody's thought about when we want to go back to in-person meetings or a hybrid of in-person and online, but I know some other governmental agencies have set dates. Like I said, we don't have to get into the weeds about this now, but I guess kind of keep in the back of your heads when we would like to do that or potentially do that, because I'd like to get back to some normalcy if we can.
I think that the good time, we'll put that on the agenda, Stacy, if you will, for our work session that we're having the 29th as it relates to money. I know it's not CARES Act money, but the amount of money that we're talking about. I think that would be a relatively quick conversation, and we can put that on the agenda, if you will.
Okay, I can do that.
President Kirschner.
Okay, thanks, Tyler. Okay, hearing nothing else, 11:11 is an appropriate time to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for participating, and God bless.